Hello everybody and welcome back. So we're continuing with our editing and there's been a little bit of work done on this area. Not much work done on the secret project, so that's been delayed. It's been a busy week, and in a couple of weeks I'll be preparing for a trip far off, and I'll tell you more about that in another video. So yeah, things have been pretty busy. But as you can see, we have what used to be the rock formation that we made last time. So now I just sort of went around the actual hill, I guess, and I added in the rock formations, and of course I added in the skybox. So that it would give us a better idea of the ambiance that we wanted to establish. So here we have some more rock formations. We have this path coming up here, and here we are. We get to the large tree with the portal that will ultimately contain the teleport point that we want for this part of the map. And then we have, of course, all the vegetation that we wanted to add, the trees, the pillars, all the particular little details, bit of texturing on the ground, the root systems that we established for the tree. We get a good look at all the other little details that we have this time around. We take a look at some of the flowers, the crystal trees, and whatnot, the benches, and it's all looking pretty good. I'm actually going to go ahead and let's take flight for a second, just to see, get this from another angle. We'll come up. As you can see here, the edges here have not been filled up with water because I'm concentrating just on this particular section of the map. So here you can see pretty much how I designed the rock formation around this particular part of the build, and I think it's actually looking pretty good. So what we're gonna do now? Ooh, 4,000 damage. I don't want to imagine what would happen if I had actually managed to successfully kill myself by dropping from that point. What can I say? All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to walk a little bit. You know what? We've been through this part, so I'm actually just going to fly in. And I just wanted to show you how I wanted to exactly make the borders for the forest in such a way that there's a lighter spot, which is going to be this beach area here, where you know, if they want more light, they can come to that, and then it becomes a little bit more darker in that area. The same thing can be said once you, for example, enter this part of the lodge, and once you look in the opposite direction, you're far enough that you actually get clear skies and will be able to see another portion of the map, which is not the purple forest, the Twilight forest. I think I'm just gonna keep calling it now. So that's pretty much where we're at. There's a lot of work, as you can see. I have to continue this peppering of rocks and bushes and trees and roots, and sort of extend it to this entire area here. And then bring this part here, which would just be a regular sort of like night elf town, which means that's going to have a little bit, it's going to have a different feel to what we've had here, you know, even in the Suramar city as well. So we have to go ahead and do a lot of work. Honestly, we'll probably be working this for weeks to come, if not months to come. Although the series might not be that long. But, you know, I can't rule out months to come because there have been patches that I made years back that they're still out there, I guess. So what I'm going to do now is I think we're still sort of... I've been yammering a lot, so I'm going to get back into Noggit, and we'll take a look at more of that work right now. All right, and so we're now in Noggit, and there are several ways that you can actually go about editing. One of the ways that I actually like to do it is I organically like to switch between Noggit and the World of Warcraft, or the client inside the game, taking a look at the ground. So as I stood, I could see that when you're in game, you can get a better eye for these empty spaces. So essentially, one of the empty spaces that we have is this. This is something that we want to try and remedy to a certain extent, and we also want to make sure that we're not just simply creating large. How should I describe it? We want to make sure that we're not just filling things up for the sake of filling them up. Sometimes I do that. I will fill up an area just to see, because let's say I haven't decided on something precisely at that moment. So when it comes to that, then yes, I might actually do that, but I try to avoid it as much as I can. So it's definitely not something that I go to very often. There's a limitation when working with different types of bushes, I think. So right now I can't remember what the combination for shrinking is. There we go. There are limitations when you're working with only a certain number of resources, and you can expand that at your leisure, I would say. But at the same time, you have to be aware that could lead to a path of just having sort of overly bloated patches for your game, and you don't really want that. You want to cater for as many people as I want. And I've always had the philosophy when it comes to doing mods for Blizzard games, or whether it was Warcraft 3 or World of Warcraft, is that I want to get a good bang for my buck from the content that I'm making. So sometimes that means not just oversaturating everything with just random elements. And yeah, so that's one of the ways to go about it. Here, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to shrink that down and bring one of those, because I'm going to move this bush, which I had sort of completely forgotten that these were here, but these are also another valuable element that we have to add sort of variety. Okay, so we've done that there. We've added some of those bushes there. Let's bring this one down there. And what can I tell you in regards to some of the level design? Sometimes it's a matter of repetition pays off. Sometimes it doesn't pay off as you would hope. But more often than not, it's you're sort of like in the safe zone. Okay, we have that there. We have that there. Perhaps we want one of these trees on this area here. And we'll just bring that closely into the bushes. And there you go. So a lot of the times you might want to be looking at things from this particular angle. And you'll be able to see where you might potentially want to put in other elements. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this and I'm going to just bring it down to 2. And I think I'm going to want a rock there and another one there. That's going to break up the terrain a bit. I'm going to also do another one here just to break up the terrain. We're going to do another one right here and another one right there. And that is going to, we're going to do another one over here. That's going to help us break up some of this hilliness that I set before, but it's going to work. It's going to work to our advantage. So I'm just going to bring this up. Have these little mountain areas, these little rock formation areas here. Then I'll slowly just work around that, and we'll do that little element there. We'll work up. We'll work with some of the darkening of the areas around this as well. But I just want to show you what some of the alternatives are in terms of what you can do and what you should do if you're looking to make some of these areas stand out. So as you can see now, from this angle, things are starting to look a lot more rough, perhaps, would be the term, and it's not necessarily what you always want. But in this case, it is what I wanted to do. I wanted these different elevations just to give this somewhat unremarkable terrain a bit of character, We'll sink that down a bit. Remember, you don't have to get things perfect in the first pass. What you want to do, ideally, is you just want to give yourself some references for the future. You're going to know, okay, well, that's where that's going to be. That's how that's going to look. Sometimes it won't look good. Sometimes it'll look good. And that's just, I guess, part of the trick is just having to deal with that, which is either you decide that you're going to come back to it, or you decide that you're, satisfied with it. But it's a way of moving on with work. One of the things that, and this isn't the case for a lot of people, but some people like to work, and they like to, they like to be perfectionists, and there are certain times that that's how I feel about some of the mods that I want to do. But for the most part, and I'm saying this and also being someone who hasn't released, at least when it comes to their WoW mods, hasn't released a single one. But it's not because I'm a perfectionist, it's just that up until recently, it was just something that I did when I was bored, and it hasn't really come back up until recently, when friends of mine, we were talking about getting back into WoW, and if we did that, what we would do, and that sort of sparked a little bit of interest on my part in terms of what I wanted to do in WoW. Should I start playing again? And it's been fun. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure about it, but I might actually record some of my friends testing out the server. It might happen. It might not. Don't hold your breath. Don't think about it too much. If I get a chance, I'll do it. If not, like I said, I don't think I will. All right, so here we go. So again, it's not perfect, but it's going. It's going places. We're gonna start developing the area a little bit more. And we will possibly look at placing some ruins in the forest as well. That's going to help with this entire thing come together. But I think this is where we're going to leave it for the time being. If you want me to do any particular things, let me know in the comment section down below. If you're interested, keep on watching. Give it a like if you liked it. And let me know. And so hopefully we'll be having more videos on a regular basis. So until then, everybody, till the next video, bye-bye.